When is the last time you did something that had little benefit to you but was fundamentally for the greater good? Something where your work would help countless others but partially at your expense? This can be said of some of us, though not many quite to the extent of Moncef Slaoui. Moncef Slaoui was born in Agadir, Morocco in July of 1959. His childhood was largely difficult. His family was forced to leave Agadir behind after an earthquake in 1960 and moved to the city of Casablanca, and when Slaoui was still young in his teenage years, his father passed away. At age 17, Slaoui graduated from high school and left Morocco and attended the Free University of Brussels in Belgium. During the next 7 years, he would earn a bachelor's degree, master's degree, and PhD in biological and immunological sciences from the university. It was in 1988 that Slaoui's career in vaccine research and development began. That year, he joined GlaxoSmithKline, the current sixth largest pharmaceutical company in the world, and one that centers largely on creating and manufacturing vaccinations. Slaoui became the head of GlaxoSmithKline 18 years later in 2006, and over his tenure at the company, he oversaw and assisted in the creation of many immunizations, including Cervarix and Rotarix, which helped to prevent cervical cancer and gastroenteritis respectively, as well as the world's first malaria vaccine in 2015, potentially limiting the spread of diseases that combined kill millions of people a year. In 2017, Slaoui retired from GlaxoSmithKline after helping to develop 14 different vaccines during his career. However, Slaoui's story does not end there, because after a still busy 2.5 years where he worked on the board of directors of Moderna and Galvani Bioelectronics, he received a phone call from then-assistant HHS Secretary Robert Kadlec. It was early 2020, and an outbreak of a new strain of coronavirus, COVID-19, in Wuhan, China, had scientists across the globe very concerned. Kadlec had read the Red Dawn emails between public health experts across the globe. A pandemic was imminent, but vaccine development at this point in time was predicted to take 24 months. This timeline needed desperately to be accelerated. Operation Warp Speed was the US government's solution to this problem. Funded by the CARES Act, this project sought to speed up vaccine development for COVID-19 such that a vaccination could be readily available by late 2020 or early 2021. But this plan needed a leader, and that is where Slaoui came in. Many people with similar occupations or credentials to Slaoui had been contacted for the position, but in the mind of Kadlec, 3 factors set Slaoui apart.
I had the opportunity and privilege to brief or interview 7 other potential candidates for the position of the Senior Scientific Advisor for Warp Speed. What made Moncef Slaoui so impressive was his humility, his extensive experience, and just the nature and his commitment to do what was necessary to help the country through this terrible time.
Once on the project, Slaoui and his team got to work immediately. Operation Warp Speed developed a vaccine portfolio approach, where over 100 vaccine candidates using varying methods would be developed by multiple different companies in order to diversify and have greater potential for success. The field was narrowed down to 3 technologies developed by 6 companies.
What Dr. Slaoui was able to do was identify a portfolio of different candidate vaccines which would have the highest probability of success to rapidly develop, to produce, and to get approved by the FDA for use in the American public.
By December 2020, 2 of those vaccines had received emergency use authorization by the FDA, Pfizer and Moderna. A third, Johnson & Johnson, received FDA authorization in February 2021. As of late May 2021, over 160 million Americans have gotten at least 1 dose of a COVID-19 vaccine. With Slaoui overseeing the project, one that was originally slated to take up to 2 years, Operation Warp Speed helped to achieve not one, but 3 vaccines for coronavirus developed in less than 1 year. Slaoui's work and dedication to the goal over his career, and especially the past year, has helped save countless lives. But what makes Slaoui different is that he did not care about recognition or the politics or whether he was seen as the driving force behind the development of these vaccinations. His intent was solely to reach the goal which his project set out to achieve, and he wanted to reach this goal because it was for the benefit of the future of the United States and that of the entire world. He was consistently poorly treated by politics and the press, but for 8 months, Moncef Slaoui worked for the minimum amount of money legally required to pay a person for a federal job under the Economy Act: $1. He did this because he did not see it as a job, but rather a mission, empowered not by politics or by desire for acknowledgement, but by the purpose of improving the world and the lives of the billions of people in it. Moncef Slaoui is an important figure in United States history, not only because of his career's work, but also because of his motives for doing it. Slaoui may have been an immigrant and may not have been born in the US, but he is undoubtedly and to the fullest extent an American, and represents many of the qualities that this country holds ideal and should aspire to: hard work, resolve, humility, dedication.
All I can tell you, he was one of the most humble and gracious persons I've ever had to work with. And quite frankly, he always was trying to do what was right. And that what was right was for the development of a vaccine to protect us against COVID.
Moncef Slaoui has left an indelible and undeniable mark on the future of the United States. The COVID-19 pandemic was the biggest such event in over a century, and one that will certainly be written of in our history textbooks in the years to come. It is thanks to Slaoui that we are now emerging from this dark period of our country's history, stained with isolation, sadness, and grief. And that is something to be remembered for.